Okay, so today's guest, I'm so excited. It's Katie Sane. Now, Katie was a teacher and she came out of teaching when she had her daughter because she decided to go full time with Teachers Pay Teachers. And as a mindset coach for teachers, I love working with teacherpreneurs because it is unbelievable how we really have to shift our mindset when we decide to suddenly go and run a business. Because guess what? Newsflash, teachers do not see themselves as business people. And when you decide to finally come out of teaching, or if you decide to come out of teaching and go into running a business, you have to shift your mindset into, I'm not a teacher, I'm a business woman slash man slash person. And that is exactly what Katie had to do. So I loved talking to her. So if you are one of those teachers who is kind of contemplating making TPT your full-time thing, then Katie is the interview for you. She's got tips, tricks, strategies, the challenges she faced. You can learn from her so that you don't have to worry about it yourself. And of course, like, subscribe, ask questions, let us know what you think. We would love to hear from you. But without further ado, let's get into it. Hey, teachers. So this interview is for you if you have been thinking of going all in with your Teachers Pay Teacher store, or you want to learn more about marketing yourself as a seller on Instagram, or possibly you are simply interested in learning more about collaborating with other teachers, because we hear a lot about collabs these days. What do they entail? So in this episode, we are talking to Katie Sane, who's a new mom and former teacher who's been selling on Teachers Pay Teachers for 6 years. And eventually she decided to go all in with her TPT store, leading her to start marketing herself and her products on Instagram. And I can't wait for her to talk about her journey because it's so awesome. So Katie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
It's gonna be so good. So before we start, where did your teaching journey sort of begin, and how did you get into your starting of Teachers Pay Teachers?
Okay, so I started teaching 6 years ago, and there was no curriculum when I started. So I noticed that I was creating my own resources and I discovered TPT. And so I thought, why not just go ahead and start selling the resources that I'm creating for my own classroom? So I started teaching ELA in middle school. And then after 2 years, I went back and got my master's degree to teach English as a second language.
Okay.
So ever since then, I've been teaching ESL, and I worked to create my resources on TPT so that they could apply to both ELA and ESL. So that, if an ELA teacher has ESL students in their class, I provide them resources that are leveled and scaffolded so they can meet the needs of all learners. So I've been teaching as long as I've been selling on TPT, and
Wow.
last December, I decided to leave the classroom and focus on it full time and focus on raising my daughter. So that's how I
Amazing.
got
And
here.
you're based in Tennessee, right?
Yes,
Right.
I was in Middle Tennessee for the last several years, and we actually just moved to the western end of the state. So
Oh, okay. Fantastic. And tell me, so with regards to selling on TPT, what would you say are three key things you've learned to do or not to do when it comes to selling on TPT?
okay, so all of these three things, I read your notes beforehand and really thought about this. The three things I've learned are definitely what to do instead of what not to do, which I guess they could go either way. But number one is create quality products. So when I first started, I was just like, oh, I need a graphic organizer to go with this lesson. And so I created a one-page graphic organizer and posted it for $1. And TPT gets commission on that. So I was making cents
Mm-hmm.
per sale.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to increase my sales, wanted to increase my income. And so, I mean, it's not that a graphic organizer is not a quality product, but I wanted to give teachers quality to where I was actually saving them weeks of time instead of 30
Yeah.
minutes for a graphic organizer. So I started creating units that were quality, gave the teacher a laid out lesson plan, and really saved them time. So I guess this is a not to do is don't just whip out resources for the sake of it.
Yeah,
Get to know your audience. What do they need? What did you need in the classroom? And create that.
that's good
Um,
advice.
so that's the first one. The second one is that you need to decide on your brand and your name before you ever create the first product.
Yes.
And I did not realize the importance of this in the beginning. And so I just picked a name, created my own logo. It was so ugly. And I'm like, I wish I could find it, honestly, to show people how horrendous. But I just was whipping out
Yeah.
resources with that logo and that brand. And I finally hired a web designer and settled on a new name that I knew I wanted to keep in 2021. We're in 2024 now, and I am still rebranding, redoing all of those resources
Wow.
to match my brand. And it's a waste of time, all because I just was impatient and wanted to get
Yeah.
started.
Which I think is a common thing with a lot of teachers. They don't really think about the branding because we're not like entrepreneurs, right? So
Yeah.
we don't always sit there with like, oh no, this is fine. It's just like, a picture of a butterfly. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and even
That's
on that note, I was using clip art that I didn't even have the rights to put into a
oh,
logo.
oh no.
So like, but it's like you said, we're not entrepreneurs, so
Exactly.
we just don't even think about that side of things. Yeah, think about name and branding and copyright on that
Very
note.
good advice.
Uh, um, and the last thing I wrote down sort of just applies to the first one is get to know your audience and what they're looking for and create resources that really help that teacher.
Yeah.
Um, know what they're looking for, what they like. Do they want to save time? Do they want to have really aesthetically pleasing stuff? Just sort of pick the audience you want to sell to, get to know them, and create those products for them.
I think that's brilliant advice because I always hear when I watch videos, because now I am an entrepreneur and I always hear, watch videos on being an entrepreneur. And they're always like, identify your ideal client. What do they want? What are their pain points? What do they do? Where do you find them online? What do they do with their day? Really, some people will even say like, name that person, give them a name.
Yeah.
So that, because I think it's sometimes on teachers pay teacher stores, like you are just trying to kind of hit everybody. And you don't realize that if you niche down, the people that you want will find you. And then
Mhm.
you will build that community of that specific group of teachers, whether they're just teaching math in grades like 2 to 5 or 2 to 4, like you have a group. So I think that is really valuable information because not every teacher does think about that. They're just like, well, I've taught, 8 different grades. So it's okay if I just
Yeah.
pop on 8 different grades worth of things. Right. But
Right.
yeah, that's
Yes.
definitely so in your opinion, like other than the fact that there are those resources that are selling for $1, what do you think makes some of your products sell better than others? Or like even just like products in general, what do you think makes some products sell better than others?
Well, one thing is I've learned that comprehensive resources really sell well. So my best sellers are not just like, oh, a worksheet on this topic.
Mhm.
It's more of I give them a lesson where you learn how to do this step by step, and then there are worksheets that go along with it or notes that go with it. And my writing units, I believe they're all 24 or 26 lessons long, where
Okay, that's
I
long.
teach. Yeah,
That's
those
good.
those those were like a pain project that I also loved. But I knew that when I started teaching, I needed a step-by-step guide from lesson one, build from the ground up, go all the way to the end. So like my writing units start with literally vocabulary for narrative, informational, and argumentative writing. And then we build from there. And by the end, students are writing 5-paragraph essays. So comprehensive. And then something I've also added in is leveling and scaffolding.
Mm,
So if I, and that's because I went from ELA to ESL. And
Hmm.
I saw a need in the ELA classroom where
Yeah.
teachers were telling me, oh, the English language learners are just not getting it. And so now when I create a resource, and I'm even going back and doing this in all of my older ones, is if I write an article, I write it at three different levels so that it's serving the needs of all students in a class because every student in your classroom does not need the same thing.
Absolutely.
Um, so I think that has really stepped up my sales personally because I also add in sentence starters for it. And it doesn't even just apply to ESL students. It may be just struggling learners in general or students with learning disabilities. I put those scaffolds like sentence starters in there to help them come up with ideas for answers. So that was the long way of me saying comprehensive
Yep.
and then scaffolds and supports. Those really take your products from, just good time savers to these are excellent, and they're also going to make a difference when your principal comes in for an observation or something like that.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing. I know as a new teacher, I would have loved that. Like someone, because often you don't have that knowledge base of where to start, right? So if you have someone who you've got this product, like, okay, cool, this is going to walk me right through. I'm curious, have you thought of using video at all? I know this isn't, I didn't put this in, but have you thought of using video, or what are your like in the future, do you think it's going to be something that teachers should think about?
I definitely thought of this literally in the last like 2 weeks.
Okay.
So yeah, I do think it's something that teachers should think about because I've even thought about if a teacher wants to keep the class going, but
Mm,
they're out for a week, they could still keep these lessons going if I also provided them with video lessons. So that's something, yeah, that it's funny that you say that because it
yeah,
may have even been last week that I was like, should I start teaching through videos? Because I know even sometimes when I would be teaching, I just couldn't explain something very well. But then
yeah,
I would find a video on YouTube that broke it down for them, and it really just helped them to hear the concept from a different perspective. And
exactly.
yeah, so that's something I haven't done, but
Okay.
I've been thinking about it. And the fact that you mentioned it shows that other teachers are probably thinking about
That's
this
it.
too.
So I'm going to give you a tip that I learned because I did a video. One of my products is a video about teaching voice in writing. And
Yeah.
I put myself on the video. And then I read a post that said, teachers don't want you on the video. They just want your voice. So I'm like, well, that was my mistake.
Well,
So
and honestly, I was
apparently
thinking of
that's
doing a video just like this. So
yeah, apparently it's better to just have your voice with the product. And then I could be, I mean, that was just the one post I read. We should actually we should go on the Facebook group and start a post and see what teachers say, to be honest,
yeah,
because
yeah.
that's good research to know. Because when I
Uh-huh.
saw that, I'm like, that's probably why my video isn't selling as much.
Yeah, because when I thought about it, I thought about recording just like this, where which I know this will be on the podcast and on video, but I thought about recording myself
Hmm.
and adding in like, a dry erase board or something like that. But, you know, I guess I might would prefer that in the classroom too.
Yeah, they say
So
like
that's
if you
really
have
something to think about.
yeah, you share your screen and you talk, but you don't have your video and you use your pointer and you show them the
Yeah.
resource and you can type on the screen and all of that, but it's just your voice. So anyway, something I wanted to
Okay.
tell you that that was what I read.
I'm gonna make a note of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool. That's interesting because I also was just thinking about that. So it's interesting that you were also I think it's the future. I think it's key to move forward for
absolutely.
sure. Okay, so
Absolutely.
what advice would you give a teacher who wants to leave teaching right now and start selling on TPT full time? Because we know it's a hugely saturated website, right? But there are a lot of teachers
Yes.
doing very well there. So what do you think is some good advice based on because you have done this?
Yeah. It really depends on where you are in your TPT journey. If you're fairly new, um, first I would say product creation. I know I said you shouldn't just be spitting products out for the sake of it. But if you only have 10 or 20 resources in your store, then you can't sell what is not for sale. So if you're fairly new, really focus on the product creation, quality ones, even if,
Mm,
my writing units took me months and months, but they paid off, you know, selling them at, I believe they're $12 a piece right now. Um, and so, of course, that took me months and months, but
hmm.
one writing unit might bring me $1,000 in 1 month. So obviously it was worth it.
Right.
Now I don't do that every month, but when I first started marketing them, they brought me a lot. So it paid off. But if you are a seller who has been in this for a while and you're wanting to leave the classroom and sell full time, if you have a lot of products, I would go back, look at those products, make sure they are the quality that you're wanting, and if you can improve them, go back and add to them, and then of course market.
Yeah.
Um, get established with a platform or two, and really just try to get the word out there about them. And I personally, I will always be creating new products, even
Sorry.
if I take a break.
It's because my Mac is set on reactions. And if you're on the podcast, you can't see, but if I put my hand on my cheek with two fingers, balloons come up
How
on my
funny.
Zoom. Yeah. Sorry, it's different hand gestures do different things. So I'm going to keep my hands down now. Okay. Sorry to keep going there. Yep.
No, you're good. Yeah, really just marketing those resources. Like if you already have two or 300 and you're not seeing the sales you want, check and make sure that there's nothing you need to add to them, and then
Yep.
really get the word out about them, whether it's a blog post or if you're on Instagram. Um, that's
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
I
But the
think also
biggest,
like, sorry, go ahead, finish off what you're gonna say.
no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think like beta testing is also a good idea. So if you have an older product, right, or a few older products, give them to your friend who's a teacher and be like, okay, can you just try to use this in the classroom and let me know how it goes? Let me know, like, give me your honest feedback. It's
Mhm.
2024 now, were your kids engaged? Did they like it? Would you change anything? Because then you can get a pair of fresh eyes on an older product and see where
Mhm.
should you sort of up your game on that product. Anyways, yeah, that's
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
fair.
and I actually even did that this last week with a bestseller of mine.
Okay.
I just decided to look back at everything, see what my bestsellers were, and one of them was a resource that I created back in 2019. Um, I was selling it for $2, and of course, if you, I don't know if everyone knows this, but on TPT, if someone
Mm.
buys your product and the total is under $3, then TBT charges extra, like more of your commission gets taken out because of the
Oh,
charge with cards and everything. So I have gotten to where I try to make everything worth $3 or more in my store just to avoid that. But I still want to offer, a dollar or two deal for teachers who may not want to spend much money. But
mm.
this resource of mine I noticed was a bestseller, like number 3 or 4, and it was worth $2. And
Wow.
I was like, I really think that I could improve this. And so I got on there. It was a central idea lesson. It was literally just a PowerPoint with notes.
Okay.
And so I updated the look of it to make it look better. And then I added digital versions of the notes where they could print the notes or students could follow along in Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams. And I also added, let's see, like 6 articles to it to so that students could practice finding
Wow.
central idea and giving text evidence. And I made it worth $5 instead of 2. And I literally have already sold 5 or 10 units. And it's bringing in more income now that it's worth more.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, this is already a bestseller, which means it's doing well with SEO when people type this in on TPT. And I searched, and this product was on the first page. And
Okay,
so,
good.
yeah, a lot of times when you think about updating products, it's your ones that are not good sellers, they're not doing too well. And you should look at those too. But just with this one, it only being $2 and was a bestseller, I thought I just want to take advantage of this already doing well with SEO and the search on TPT. This already comes up on the first page, so I'm just gonna try and make more money on this product instead of ones that, don't
Yeah.
sell very well.
I think you mentioning the SEO, which is search engine optimization, if you're not
Oh,
sure,
yeah, I
is
forget that
really,
people don't know that.
yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Which is so important because 2019 was not maximized for SEO like it is today. I mean, TPT also
Mhm.
has an algorithm. TPT is also working on hashtags and how you search and the keywords in your titles. So go back and
Yeah.
look at your titles too, right? If
Hmm.
like, is your title specific? Do you have keywords in your write-up that if I were going to search for your product, where does it come in? Think like a teacher searching for something, right? What are they
Hmm.
searching? What actual words are they searching for? And then
Right.
look at, does your product come up? Because I think that is really important. Because I know that there are probably teachers out there who have these titles that they just like threw a title on there, right? And
Yes, and I'm
today,
guilty of that too.
yeah. And
Oh,
today it's not like that. You have to think like an entrepreneur. When you're doing TPT, it is kind
yes.
of like you're running a side hustle. So really look at your
Yes.
products, look at your titles. Did you put some hashtags in there, go edit. So yeah, I think that's good. It's valuable insight there that I bet you teachers that are going to be listening to this and watching this will not have thought of. Um,
Well, and
yeah.
on that note, it's like your first 120 characters or something in the product description.
Okay.
Also, that's a big place for keywords. And when I first started hearing about SEO, I had no idea how do I even find out what terms to type. And so, just a little tidbit, if you Google something like, middle school argument writing, scroll down and look at the related search area. And those are things that teachers have been typing into search looking for, and you can get your keywords from there.
That's good.
So just,
Yep.
just a little tip. Anytime I'm writing a description now, I do that. I'll get on Pinterest and I'll start typing like, middle school informational writing, and I'll see what's populating there that teachers have been searching for. And those are the keywords that I use.
That is
So
brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And so easy, right? You just
yeah.
go on Pinterest and you start typing and then that is what Pinterest does, is it shows you exactly what people are searching for. So that's like,
Yes.
it's
So
like
SEO
gold
is not as
advice.
complicated as it sounds.
Yeah, that's true. That's,
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, it's definitely something I think a lot of teachers may not have thought of. So that's fantastic. So tell us about we're going to link it in the show notes, but your free product, 5 steps to selling on TBT.
Okay. So, um, like I said, I've been selling on TPT for 6 years now. And when I started out, I um, did not want to invest much money. I was worried about every little expense that went into TPT because I was making $0. And when I first started, I just was like, oh, TPT could maybe be some Starbucks money, or something like that. And so I just did all of the research myself, and I didn't find all the answers I was looking for. So a lot of it I just learned by trial and error. For example, not branding myself very
Yep.
well from the get-go. Um, so what this is I created a free video training with a handout, and it's just what I have found to be the first 5 steps to getting started to selling on TPT. And I just kind of touch on each one.
Oh,
And I'm currently working on creating a course to go majorly in depth in these 5 steps. But if you are like me and just wanted to get started and kind of do some research on your own, um, then you can use this to just lay out the first 5 things you need to
yeah.
do. Um, and so I wanted to offer that for the people who want to do kind of more research on their own. But then if someone is wanting help and wanting more of a course to follow along with, then I also am, like I said, working on one to go in depth with these 5 steps where I would do a video for each of the steps and we would go through it together.
Right.
Um, but I talk about in there like how important it is to choose your niche and pick your brand, and I touch a little bit on product creation and um, just like I said, the first 5 things that you need to focus on if you're interested in this
Yeah.
field.
It's brilliant. That's brilliant. We're definitely, I'll pop that in the show notes so anyone who's listening or watching can check it out. And so now I want to segue into Instagram because I know this is something you've started a little bit more recently.
Mhm.
What made you decide to sort of to go onto Instagram in the first place?
Well, I mean, Instagram sort of speaks for itself. It's super popular. Everyone's on there. Um, Most people are on there.
Yeah.
And really what made me want to dive into it was that as a consumer, I was kind of being sold on products that I saw on Instagram. Um, and so I thought if I am finding things that I want for my classroom on Instagram, then why am I not marketing myself?
Yeah.
Um, so I started marketing my ELA resources several years ago, um, and then eventually my ESL products. But I would post consistently for like a week or two, and then I literally would ghost all of my followers for months on end. And it was getting me nowhere. So I decided to up my game and, rather than posting every single day, maybe just a few days a week, but I saw that I needed to be consistent with it.
Okay. So
And
that's
that's really
key.
what, yes, consistency is key. That's what changed Instagram for me. And with that consistency, you get to know your audience more. So I had maybe 1,500 followers starting out, and I just didn't spend time on there. So I didn't know any of my followers. I didn't even know the people I was following. I just would get on there every now and then. But once I started being consistent, I would reply to stories and people would reply to mine. And it helped build relationships where people trusted me, um, which led to them using my products because they trusted that I was an expert on that topic.
Yeah, I was just watching a video this morning about Instagram for 2024, and they said that's one of the things that Instagram wants you to do is to comment on other people in your niche, right? So other
Yeah.
teachers, and that way it'll give you more of that topic. Look at the topics that they're talking about, and then maybe do a reel on that topic. Look at the people they are following and follow those same people. So you're sort of tricking your algorithm to give you more of of your people, so then they will get more of you, right?
Yes,
And that's how you're going to
absolutely.
find those teachers and grow your Instagram for business, which is what you want to do. I've also got to up
Yeah.
my game on Instagram this year. That's one of my biggest goals for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's a game changer for
yeah,
sure.
definitely. Would you say like with marketing on Instagram, what was like one of your challenges? I know you were mentioning that recently you've split into two Instagrams, so I'd love to hear about that.
Mhm. The biggest challenge I would say is, like I just mentioned, a lack of consistency.
Yeah.
Um, Being consistent, even if it's 1 time a week, that will bring you more results. Um, and also being on stories. One challenge that I had was I just did not want to show my face.
Okay.
Being a middle school teacher, if your students find you on Instagram, it is highly likely that they're going to like screenshot it and share it. And I was just terrified of that. So once I overcame that and started sharing my face more, that is another thing that helped me build more relationships, was that people actually got to know who I was and they knew my face.
Yeah.
Um, and on that, this sort of relates to that consistency and showing my face and being more personable. Was when I first started Instagram, it was just for ELA and ESL resources. But since then, I've gotten started on a journey of helping teachers sell their resources on
Okay.
TPT. And so at first I was sharing about this, like both sides of it on one Instagram, but then I felt like it wasn't fair to my followers who were there to buy my ESL and ELA resources for
Right.
them to also be marketing my teacher seller side of the business. And so I decided to divide them so that I could really focus on both audiences separately. And I've already seen that that really is what I should have done from the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work to build a new Instagram from the ground up, but the followers who are following my teacher seller account are genuine followers who want to know more about selling on TPT.
Yeah.
So it's being that specific to my niche and audience.
I was just gonna say it goes back to what we were talking about before, right? Who is your like your ideal client essentially? And if you
Mhm.
have two Instagrams that are really one Instagram that is approaching two separate types of clients, that's going to
Mhm.
get very jumbled up, right? And you could lose
Yes,
people because they don't want to navigate through that. They don't have time to figure out what's for them, what's not for them. So by
right.
separating it into two, you niche into the right area. So I think that's gonna I think that will be a game changer for you. I have I'm sure that will just continue to blow up for sure. So that's
I
very
hope
cool.
so.
Yeah, no, I think it will
Well,
because
and
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I can also plug on my Instagram where I already have quite a few followers. I can kind of do a plug in every now and then and be like, hey, if you're a teacher and are interested in selling on TPT, you can follow this account. It's just a quick
Yep.
little thing where I'm not marketing both sides, but if they are interested, they can follow me there too.
Absolutely. And I think these days a lot of teachers are trying to do their best to make that bit of extra money by selling on TPT. So I think, you have you have a definite market without a doubt. Um,
For sure.
so I think you've probably maybe answered this a little bit, but is there any other advice you would give for a teacher who wanted to build her brand or his brand on Instagram?
Other than being consistent, utilize Reels even if you're scared. I
Okay.
know
Yeah,
that
just do it.
yeah, they can be intimidating. And you don't have to dance on there or things
Yeah.
like that. That's so not me. But once I started using Reels, that really helped show my personality. And Instagram, the algorithm just loves Reels. So they're going to get out there more. And I like to be funny on some of them. And then I've also found that faceless reels are a thing. Like you can just get a video of you pouring your morning coffee and put some text over it about the tip you want to give for the day or something.
Ooh, that's good. I like that.
So yeah, so even if you don't want to show your face, still get into reels because like I
Yeah.
said, the algorithm loves them.
And I think don't feel like you have to be super, super creative with your reel. Like it's enough for you to just be in your classroom, talk about something quickly, and boom and post it, right? It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
necessarily that you have to be this Instagram guru with reels, right? I think a lot of
No.
people think that, but you don't.
No, you really don't. Like, there's so much that I don't even know about Instagram Reels, and I'll even text my friend who's super good at that stuff and be like,
Yeah.
how do I do this? I have no idea how teachers are making reels about this. And she'll tell me. So, on that, reach out to people who are good at it too. If that's not your thing, get help from other
Yeah,
people.
that's good advice. Yeah, get help. Exactly. Like
Mhm.
DM someone who's doing it and say, listen, I don't know if you're free. I'd love to talk to you about Reels. Like you're doing such a great job.
Mhm.
I'm a teacher, you're a teacher. A lot of
Yeah.
teachers out there will be willing to help. And if they're not, message someone else. It's okay.
Yeah, that's the thing is like the worst thing they can do is say no. And if they do,
Yeah.
fine. They're just not your person. Move on to the next.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was looking for people on Instagram to talk to, I think I messaged like 20 different people and two messaged me back and I was like, woohoo! I was like so excited that I got these two people to message me back. I was
Yeah,
like, the other
absolutely.
18, I was like, whatever, it's fine.
Don't let it bother you. Don't be
Yeah.
self-conscious about it. That's the name of the game.
Exactly, exactly. So, before we get into our final questions, tell me a little bit, do you know much about collaborations? I know seems to be a big thing on Instagram these days. What can you tell us? Like, what do you know about them, if anything?
Well, I mean, collaborations can really be anything that you want them to be. Um, it's even like, you're doing a podcast and you're collaborating with other teachers that you've met,
There
or
you
you at least
go.
met me through social media.
Yeah.
But like one way I'm using them personally right now is in the course that I'm creating, I don't just want to tell teachers, this is what you do. I
Mm,
want to also give them the resources they need to do it. And one of the big things in the beginning is finding good quality clip art and good quality fonts or mock-ups to use, um, to if you're not good at product photography yet.
right.
So I've reached out to other teachers who are sort of in the same field of me, or same field as me, but they create fonts or clip art and mock-ups. And, I'm kind of like you, I reached out to a bunch of people, and the few who messaged me back, um, I just like, I want to support them even more.
Yep.
And so I'm working with several different teachers who are contributing. They're giving me like a clip art set or a font set, and they're allowing me to give it to anyone who purchases my course. And in return, I'm using that as a plug for them. I'm going to tell
Nice.
my course members how amazing these people are. I'm going to share links to their TPT stores or wherever they're selling. And I'm going to encourage those members to buy from those teachers. And I will add, don't be intimidated to reach out to the big sellers.
Yeah.
I reached out to someone who is like probably top TPT font seller. Um, and she messaged me back and has been so kind. And even though
That's
like
amazing.
I'm small on the scale compared to her, but she was still so excited to work with me and contribute. And I even offered, I was like, let me buy the set. Even though I already own her whole bundle, but I was like, I'll purchase the set again to give away to my course members so that you don't feel like you're
Yeah.
not
You're
getting
like
a good deal.
losing out or
But
something. Yeah.
yeah, but no, she was like, no, I want to contribute. I'm grateful that you want to share my name with people. And so that's just one way that I'm using collaboration right now. Um, I know other teachers who they got together and they'll do like 2 sales a year where they'll get other teacher sellers to um, compile a whole bunch of like math resources or ELA resources, and they'll sell that one bundle for a certain amount of money. And it's just a good marketing thing to get your
Yeah.
name out there. And then, there are some teachers who collaborate and have a TPT store together.
Yes,
Um,
I've heard about that.
yeah, so it
There
can really
are.
be anything that you want.
Yeah, there are various ways to do it. I think it is it's just going to get bigger and bigger moving forward,
Yeah.
collaboration. So I think so you've definitely touched on several different ways you can collaborate, which I think is fantastic. And
And
yeah,
I
you're
love it just
right.
because
Yeah, go ahead.
I just love supporting other teachers in this field too. Like, even if they're doing the exact same thing as me, I'm fine with shouting them out because I just want everyone to succeed in this. And I think it's great when we all help each other get our names out there.
Absolutely. That's why I was so grateful when I found the Facebook group to find people for my podcast, which is also my YouTube, because
Mm-hmm.
people were excited to share their stories. I'm like, this is fantastic because I want to get out there, positive stories, positive mindset, because I'm a mindset coach and a mindset coach for
Mm-hmm.
teachers. And I really, I love meeting teachers like you that are like, you can do this. Like here's ideas, think
Mm-hmm.
about this. And I never would have thought about that before, right? I thought I
Mm-hmm.
was just going to be me on the podcast. And this is so much more fun.
It's
I love
great to
it. I
get to
love,
know other people.
yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what are your handles on Instagram? And is that the best place to find you online, or are there other places that you hang out as well?
Instagram would probably be the best. I have my Instagram where I market all of my resources that I sell. That one is Hello Tennessee Teacher. And then the Instagram where I give out teacher seller tips is called Hello Tennessee, or sorry, not Hello Tennessee, Hello Teacher Seller.
Okay.
Um, so it's Hello Tennessee Teacher. Hello Teacher Seller. Instagram is where I'm consistent for social media. I am working on Facebook, which that's also Hello Tennessee Teacher. And then TikTok, I'm so not consistent,
Yeah.
but it's the same thing. I just get on there every now and then. But I also have a website where I'm adding on a section of it, hellotennesseeteacher.com. I'm adding on a teacher seller page there too.
Perfect. Okay, amazing. Yeah, no, definitely check that out. And don't worry, they actually say it's better to focus on like get one niche sorted before you,
Oh yeah.
you go out and like chase other rabbits. So you're doing the
Oh
right
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. The only reason I even touched on TikTok is because I'm creating reels for Instagram anyways, so
Yeah.
I would just go and do the reels on TikTok too. So
Yeah. That's a good way to do it for sure.
Mhm.
Are there any specific books that you recommend for either personal or professional development that you've read?
Um, I mostly read fiction. Love a
Okay.
good mystery, but I'm into like Christian living books,
Okay.
but a business book that I'm reading right now is How to Write Copy That Sells by
Ooh.
Ray Edwards. And it's really good so far. I haven't finished it yet, but it's teaching about um, writing blog posts or product descriptions or things like that um, really you put it in a way that tells a story and
Yeah.
appeals to your buyer and makes them want to buy from you. So I'm enjoying that right now.
Cool. I typed that out, so I'll put that in the notes as well. So just going into mindset a little bit, since I coach with I'm a mindset coach. What is one thing, Katie, that you do to keep yourself calm if things start to get a little bit chaotic?
Well, working out is a big thing for me. I know you can't just like in the middle of chaos be like I'm leaving and going to work out, but um, it's something that if I just get home, or at least especially when I was in the classroom, when I would get home, if I were stressed or overwhelmed, or even just moody, I could do
Hmm.
a workout, and after that was a different person. So working out is a big part of that for me. And then I'm a
Nice.
Christian, so sometimes I just need to go get away and spend time in prayer or the word, and those are the big things for
Yeah.
me.
Great. No, those are excellent. I'm also working out. It's changed everything for me as well.
Mhm.
And if you do find yourself ever getting into a negative mindset, are there any strategies that you use to pull yourself out and put yourself in a positive mindset?
So again, working out is a big
Hmm.
one, but also this may seem silly, but on the Apple Watch, the little breathing thing that would like
Yeah.
remind you, if I were in the classroom and just needed a minute, I might would sit at my desk and just do that breathing exercise and help me calm down. That was a big one. I'll say like when I couldn't just go home and work out,
Yeah.
that breathing helped me a lot.
I agree. I did a YouTube video on mindfulness, bringing mindfulness into the classroom because we don't realize like it's scientifically proven, how breathing can just like understanding breath work, learning breath work, how it can
Mhm.
really impact you and trying to get it as a regular practice with your students, I think would be a game changer for a lot of teachers. Because
I agree.
teaching them as well is, helps release anxiety and just be more present and, calming down with anger and yeah, all of that. So
Mhm.
I love that. And final question, Katie, what three things are you grateful for today?
Day. Thankful for my husband and my daughter. Those are my two biggest blessings.
Nice.
Um, and then today, this is one of those days where I'm just so grateful that I get to stay home and work on a job that I love full time. Um, it's a huge blessing.
Yeah, amazing. I love it. Well, Katie, I am so grateful for you that you came on the show today. And I just really appreciate you for adding so much value to the lives of teachers today and every day and in the future moving forward, because I know so many teachers are going to benefit from these courses that you're offering, your advice, your knowledge. And yeah, and I just really wish you the utmost prosperity and success with your business as you move forward. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you letting me be on here and share about some of my TPT story. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, amazing. Thank you so much, Katie. That was awesome. You gave so much great, like, I'm going to put this on the Facebook group for Teachers Pay Teachers, and I'm going to be like, go watch this. Just go watch this.
Oh, well,
Like,
thank you.
you,
I think I mentioned to you before that this was my first podcast, so like I'm so grateful that you even trusted me um, to be on your podcast.
yeah. No, I love it. You were great. You're perfect. You answered everything, like you articulate, you had the knowledge, I think it helped. Like that's why I like doing the pre thing as well, because I think it helps
Mm.
just to kind of guide where we're going to go with it. And it helps put both parties at ease. I think that's what
Yeah.
I've realized, starting the podcasts. But yeah, so it'll probably take me about 1 to 2 weeks to put this out, just because I've got a few other ones I have to do, but I can't
Mhm.
wait. I'm so excited. And as soon as it's all done, I'll send you the links and you can use the video. I'll send you the video as well. So if you want to use it for like promotional pieces or anything, then you'll have access to like the full video. So you can do it
Thank
with
you.
it what you will.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'll
You're
definitely share your podcast. Let that, I have a lot of teacher friends on Facebook, so I'm planning on
awesome.
sharing your podcast for everyone to see that. So,
Cool. Yeah, we can say like if they want to be on, every teacher has something to share. So if they want to be on the podcast, they can also message me. We can put that
yeah.
yeah, definitely. Because I want to make it positive. There's a lot of negativity with teaching right now, and I just want
Oh,
to
yes.
really focus on trying to keep people as positive as possible.
I love that. That's great.
Thank you so much. All right, Katie, I'm going to let you go. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week and rest of your day, because you still got the afternoon going on. So enjoy that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you so
And
much.
yeah, and I'll chat to you soon once I've edited everything.
All right. Have a good one.
Cool. Cool. Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.